In the morning forest shadows dance free, mystical whispers echo through the trees, reaching our enchantment to space.
Hello, witches and wizards, and welcome one more time to Medicina Isideron's podcast. This is episode 7, titled Numinous and Ominous. First of all, I would like to apologize to you for the quality of this episode. I have recorded this while I was on holidays, on a trip, so I didn't have my usual equipment. So the quality is going to be a little bit more so-and-so, but I deem it still good enough, and the content of the podcast is good enough for me to post it. So I promise that by next episode, the quality will be back up and I will have my usual equipment. And with that, we begin our episode 7. Today's seed is a strange and sacred one. It's about how the divine doesn't always appear to us in soft light or sweet forms. Sometimes the divine arrives like lightning, like rupture, like a presence that doesn't ask permission. In ancient terms, we might call this the numinous, a presence that is awe-inducing, magnetic, divine, but also trembling, terrifying. It shakes you out of your sense of self and cracks your everyday perception. And just as mysteriously, the ominous appears, the shadow of that same force, what scares us, what we resist, what feels like a threat, but often contains the seed of deep transformation. These two forces are not opposites, they are twins. They are both faces of a same coin, let's say, of a same energy. I think it's interesting to explore this idea that the divine light or the enlightenment that we seek as mystery practitioners, it is not full if it's not whole. It's difficult to explain it, but something that is entirely nice and luminous and bright and it's all good, it's not going to heal us. Real transformation and real healing comes from embracing the shadow, doing the shadow work. As they name it in psychoanalysis, is making the subconscious conscious. So it's bringing the light into the darkness. And when we bring light into the darkness, we actually see what's there, right? So if you're in a dark room and there are weird things there that you don't want to see, if you bring in a candle, if you bring in a light, you're going to be able to see those things. So that is the actual process of healing. It's a process of bringing the light into the darkness, seeing what's there, healing what's there. And we're going to move forward a little bit with the text here and see that it's not always about healing, really. So just like in alchemy, where the elixir and the poison are not two separate substances, but one force in different states. What heals and what hurts may emerge from the same moment, in the same source, in the same encounter. They can come together. This is something I've learned through esoteric practice, but also through deep psychological work. In psychoanalysis, as we were saying, there is this concept of the uncanny, that which is both familiar and foreign at once. It's like seeing a mask that shows you something realer than a face, or a dream that feels more true than your waking life. The tension between attraction and fear is the same current we find in mysticism. Many of us were taught to run from discomfort, to push it away, to push away what hurts. But sometimes what we call poison is actually a process we must cross, something that cannot be solved or avoided, only lived through. So you don't always heal it. Sometimes you just walk with the fire and become something else. You allow that fire, that shadow, to transform you. So you can't get rid of it. So you're not going to try to get rid of it. You're not going to try to be this luminous, numinous being by ignoring your shadow if you can't heal it, because that's called repression. That is actually hiding what is there. So what we need to do is allow the shadow in so that we can move in a different way, so that we can literally transform, do things in a different way. Well, I carry this shadow, and this is just as much as I can purify it, because when we work with alchemy, we're going to see that we can only purify substances up to a certain point. But after that point, we can't do anything else. Like there is literally a residue that we have to carry with us, or that we have to give back to the earth in a way, but not to hide away. We have to be aware that that's there, and that is the very seed of our transformation, because we're going to have to accept that that product cannot be any more purified, cannot be incorporated, cannot be consumed. So it cannot be part of our being, but yet it is. So we have to learn how to transform ourselves to walk with that. So as we were talking, the numinous shocks the psyche. It breaks the false self, because it comes with a light that is so real that it enlightens all the darkness and it uncovers all the darkness. The numinous shocks the psyche, it illuminates the darkness. The ominous reminds us that death is always near, right? When you think about Omen, if you've seen horror movies like The Omen, you know that omen is a reminder that death is near, right? Because it's usually, we take in English, well, it also in Spanish, we call an omen a perception of death that is coming. And we all know that death is coming at some point in our life, that we don't know when. So the ominous reminds us that death is always near, but not to terrorize us, but to wake us up. So it's a bit like memento mori. But it's very deep, like it's part of the shadow work. If we remember that that's there, that that's the ultimate thing that we cannot purify or transform, then we must allow that fear, that intrinsical sort of shadow to change us. So if lately you've been feeling shaken, cracked open, exiled from the comfortable narrative of your life, maybe that is divine contact. Maybe you're not lost. Maybe you're not broken. Maybe you're just close to truth. And if that's a way of thinking that resonates with you, this mix of magic, deep psychology, alchemy, shadow work, then I want to invite you to something that I am quietly building. It's a cycle for deep thinkers and misfits, for people who feel too much, question everything, and want to go farther and deeper. This group is going to be called the Sulfur Cycles, where we explore the potency of our own internal sulfur in the alchemical sense, our fire, our spirit, or our animus, more like. And it's where we explore these themes in a longer form, more personalized ways, through symbolic study, group conversation, and inner transmutation. If you feel called to be a part of it, let me know. You don't have to know everything. You just have to feel the fire. And we'll be discussing mythology and a lot of documentation. We're going to go and read, and we're going to go and learn, and we're going to then share in those circles in a non-judgmental way, in a very explorative way, and with no dogmas. I'm not there as a teacher in those circles, as it is a secret circle. I'm just going to be there as a prompt for activities and for thoughts, and then we can really all share what we bring to the circle. So I'm going to continue sharing classes like this and slowly building this inner circle. So I would love that if you're interested in forming part of this inner circle and studying more and being more committed, you will let me know. For those of you who are interested in contacting me for being part of this inner witchy circle, you can always contact me on my social media, in Instagram, The Plant Alchemist, and you can find me as well on my YouTube, and just fire me a DM in one of those and let me know that you want to be part of the sulfur cycles. As always, thank you so much for listening to another episode, and I will see you on the next episode.
In the morning, forest shadows dance free, mystical whispers echo through the trees, reaching our